I've complained about franchisors. I've complained about franchisors that were fantastic. I didn't realize how fantastic they were, but I certainly had things to complain about until I got involved with some franchises that, let's just say, they were less than fantastic. And those were operated out of fear. The founder operated in fear. So franchisees didn't really even buck the system or ask for improvement or do too much because it was run with fear.
Representing Franchise Secrets, Eric Von Horn.
Welcome to Franchise Secrets. It's a solo podcast with me today. I'm going to be talking more about partnerships. I think one of the things I've done more than most anybody that I know is I've been involved in a lot of partnerships over the years. Some of those have worked out amazing, some of them average, and some of them have not worked out so great. A lot of different factors in there, but I would say all in all, I'm a huge fan of partnerships for many reasons. I was talking to someone at the Lifestyle and Tribe of Investor retreat in Austin last week, and they were saying, like, how can you do all of these different things? Because I've got some I'm involved in franchising as a franchisee, as a soon to be a franchisor again, and then advisory and FSO, franchise sales organization, and then just investor in general. And I have quite a few passive investments, from venture to cash flowing types investments. So on the outside, it looks like I have a lot going on. But then when you look at my actual work week, I'm not involved in all of those things all the time. It's not me. The business does not, all those businesses do not revolve around just me. Even on the investing side, I got a lot of different people that I learn from that advise me. And some of them are more on the free side, some of them are on the paid side. But I'm a huge fan of leverage. So when I think about great partnerships, I think about leverage. And I think that's really the key to having long lasting partnerships that can scale, grow, and evolve. I want to talk today just about partnerships. I think there's early on, I first got started in a partnership with my parents. And I remember talking to them and saying, hey, I've got this great deal. I think that we might want to look at partnering in that. And they told me, they're like, hey, one of the things that we've kind of always said that we never really told you about is we will never, ever partner with you, ever. Wasn't quite that dramatic, but it was clear to me that they had decided, without me even knowing this, that they did not want to partner with me. And I think it comes from a number of different angles. I think one of the things they think about is, I don't want to give my son a free ride. I don't want to give him money and call it a partnership and it to be a free ride. I think that was one of them. Or maybe they were thinking didn't want to strain the relationship. I'm still not completely sure on why they thought about that, but I think about it in terms of my own daughters. Like, I want to help them, but I don't want to enable them. So that was my kind of first entry into partnerships, partnering with somebody that didn't really want to partner with me, but it turned out to be an amazing thing. And we all made lots of money. It always wasn't easy though. And conversations around the dinner table, around doing fun things, always revolved around business. So that is also something to keep in mind. That's with family. And it wasn't the only time that I partnered with them as well. It was the first time where I think I was getting more of the partnership than they were, but they probably saw it differently because of the way it was structured. They were getting a lot out of the partnership because of where I was at the corporate office, what I was doing, selling franchises, learning from them. So I was deep into that franchise system. So I had access to a lot of people, a lot of help that just, if I wasn't there, I would not have been nearly as useful. So that was my first partnership. Like I said, we eventually got into other partnerships, and it's because the first one worked. Like, I wouldn't get into a partnership again with the same people if it didn't work the first time. And so I just want to talk about like the 5 different levers of a partnership, because I truly see partnership as a lever that you can pull. Going back to my time in Austin last week, people are like, how do you do all this? And how many hours a week do you work? They were surprised to learn that I'm not working all the time. And they were surprised to see all the different businesses that I was involved with. But I think it's partially because I don't need the whole business to myself. I don't need to have every dollar of profit that comes. I'm happy to share it. So we want to create a bigger pie, not to have all of the same, just all of one pie. So that's in general how I look at partnerships. And I'm probably going to be talking a little bit more about the good things about partnerships on this podcast. And I'll eventually start to talk about some of the other things that are some of the challenges, some of the things you should look out for when you are partnering with people that around things that could go bad, because I've seen a lot of things go bad. Some of the challenges that we've had in our partnerships, things that have been a challenge that we worked through, and some of the things where we just had to go our separate ways, and it's all fine. Everything has worked out fine for me with all of this. Most of the time, it never works out the way that you think it's going to work out. So hopefully I save a lot of you, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, and hopefully you can find the right partners to be able to do more in business, create a bigger pie, and be happy. So I think about distribution. When I think about, I want to have leverage that I can't easily buy. And I'll be talking about Front Street quite a bit because our business model is evolving, the way that we look at our brands. And we're always looking at leverage. How do we pull different levers to have a better output? And that might be enterprise value, it might be cash flow, it might be helping franchisees with their things, and it might mean bringing in experts that can um, have a skill set that we don't have, or have expertise in an area that we don't have. So distribution, that's one lever. And as I've looked at it from myself, and why people want to partner with me, and I didn't put a lot of value in this at first, and it's happened over time, and I didn't create this leverage to at the beginning 20 years ago, or really even 10 years ago when I really first started to dive into this. But it's my newsletter. It's got a really large reach. My podcast has been around for years, and I have many hundreds of episodes. It's been very consistent, always getting out every week. So, and that has a large audience. And then I started a Facebook group, and that has 8 or 9,000 people in it that are focused on franchising, whether they're buyers, they're franchisees, they're franchisors, or they're people that want to start a franchise. So all of that has created not just me being an expert in franchising as a franchisee, franchisor, franchise sales, but it's created a platform, a community in these. And oh, by the way, I've got 2 different masterminds, one for franchisees and one for franchisors. So all of that has led to this network of mine, where I can put out content, I can put out something, and I can get a response from my audience. And you can't just build that overnight. And so I will pay to have someone do things for me, to have that type of distribution. I pay a lot of money, and people do that, but it also makes me very valuable as a partner. And also, as we evaluate different franchises, or maybe mom and pops that want to franchise their business, I look at that. What is their audience like? What kind of distribution do they have? Where are they the experts? What kind of newsletter do they have? What kind of group, whether it's Facebook or some type of community, or do they have a paid coaching program? Anything that says they're the experts, where they have that captive audience, that is something that I like to I put a lot of importance in. And again, it took me a while for me to place as much importance in that, with that community, that distribution network that I have. And other people saw more value in it than I did, until my eyes were opened up and I saw the value. And it's real time with Front Street, and it's how we're building the brand. And we are definitely leveraging my audience. And the great thing about it is It's all mostly like giving value, helping people, doing things and not getting paid on it, because the real value for us is brands, people that want to work with us at Front Street. It's not somebody that wants to pay us $5,000 a month. It's somebody that wants to build with us. And so that's been it's been a big one. Distribution. So don't underestimate distribution, whether you're the partner that has it or you're the partner that wants it. The second lever I would be looking at is credibility. For me, it's franchising. And I'll get into these different groups with very smart, very successful business people. And I'm usually the only franchise guy in there. These guys are, just big in marketing, big in private equity, big in whatever it is that they're really big into and making a lot of money. And they're well known within that industry. And then there's me, franchising. They're like, what do you do, Eric? I'm in franchising. And I typically don't go into it because I'm a big question asker. I would like to understand more about other people than I am about telling them everything that I'm good at or that I do. Because if I get to know them, I will understand if there's something that they have that I might want versus me just thinking they're super interested in what I do in franchising. And then if I do mention franchising at some point in the conversation, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. And so it really has helped me become the franchise guy, like the guy that they know, that who knows more about anything in franchising than anybody else that they know. Doesn't mean that I'm the smartest guy in franchising, because there's a lot of people that have done a lot more in franchising than me. By the way, they're really old, but they've done so much in franchising. But in my network, I am that franchise guy. So I get the call, I get the text. I just left the lifestyle investor retreat with over 100 different investors there, and then the tribe of investors with about 50 plus investors there. And I had a conversation with somebody, and they're like, I knew you're the franchise guy, but boy, you've done a lot. And they asked me this question: what are you looking for? Like, how can I help you? And I just told them a few things. Some of the brands industries we're looking at getting involved with, some of the brands we're getting close to moving on. And they're like, I think I got it. And so I got a message the next day while still in Austin. And they said, hey, Eric, I met so-and-so on the plane, and they're looking at franchising this thing, and I thought you would be the guy to talk to. So I have this credibility in franchising. You have the credibility in something. You need to partner with somebody with credibility in something else. That's how this world works. So could I do all this by myself? Absolutely. But am I able to create a bigger opportunity by partnering with the 4 partners at Front Street, partnering with operational partners for different brands and different projects that we're involved with? That is 100% yes. So that's why I love the leverage of partnerships, even as a franchisee. So franchisor should absolutely be thinking about this. Franchisees, I'm partnered in a franchise group as a franchisee. I used to be the person that was the operational guy. You've got more money, I'll get to work and I'll build this thing. Now I've got the money. I will put it to work, but I'll put it to work with franchisees that, one, have expertise in a certain area in franchising. They have a track record within a brand, and they just want capital to be able to expand and grow. But they want more than capital. They want that credibility that I have, because I can come and say, I can help you make better decisions sooner, and it doesn't take a whole lot of my time. But so it's capital and some of my expertise. And that really brings me to number 3, speed. I like to move fast on things when we're building. And I also want my partners to want to not just wait around and delay and slow roll everything. It needs to be done thoughtfully, but I want people that I fully align with. They want to get to work. They don't want to waste time, and they want to grow stuff and grow it quickly. That doesn't mean to grow it without a lot of intention. It just means let's not delay things. So if we want to build out a number of franchises as a franchisee, I want them out in the market working, finding locations. That's part of moving fast. I don't want them thinking, I'm just going to sit back and wait until landlords bring me something. So I want them to be able to move fast. And at Front Street, we want to work with brands that are the same. They're capitalized, but they want to grow quickly to get to scale. Because sometimes you can grow really slowly, but slow growth kills your brand because you don't have enough capital coming in to support the growth. Other times, people do move too fast. They are selling a bunch of franchises. They have more money going out than they have coming in because they're not able to keep up with growth. And what I mean by that is uh, they are opening up 50 locations in 6 months, and they've never really opened up more than 5 a year because they sold so many. That growth, unless you for some reason have the infrastructure involved to be able to do that, there's probably going to be some things that break. But you need to be able to keep moving. You need to be able to move forward. And franchisors, you need to continue to open up locations, support those franchisees. Those franchisees continue to open up according to their development plan, and that's what we look for. So think about it. In franchising, you are a partner. You've agreed to open up locations. You look to that franchisor as a business partner, someone that's going to help you, someone that's going to give you leverage. So I've seen a lot of franchisees not taking advantage of franchisors saying, help me with this. How do I do this better? How do I do that better? That is probably the biggest thing that I, as a franchisee in the past and still a franchisee, I will want to leverage that franchisor. I could complain all day. Any franchisee can complain about their franchisor. I've complained about franchisors. I've complained about franchisors that were fantastic. I didn't realize how fantastic they were, but I certainly had things to complain about until I got involved with some franchises that, let's just say, they were less than fantastic. And those were operated out of fear. The founder operated in fear. So franchisees didn't really even buck the system or ask for improvement or do too much because it was run with fear. So I think there's such a balance there. Franchisees many times don't realize how good they really have it, how much the franchisor really cares, and how much the franchisor is really for them. And sometimes they're just involved in the system with the founder that could care less about them, care less about their success, and they don't want to offer any help to them. They won't listen to them. They won't sit down with them. They won't be making hires at the corporate office. They won't be trying new initiatives. They're just like, you do what I say, and that's it. That's not very good. All right, moving on. I want to just, I think another lever is just insight. A lot of brands come to Front Street because they don't know franchising. And they know that's what we do. They know we have some of the best um, talent in a partnership than anybody in the world. I mean, you got me, you got Jeff, you've got Jim, you've got Bobby. And we each do different things very, very well. There's a lot of overlap, except for Jim. He's full on operation. Bobby's full franchise development from the FSO and things that we're doing to help franchisors with their franchise sales and the franchise development. And then Jeff and I do similar type things, but we have some crossover, and yet we have quite different skill sets as well. But we all, with us together, with the four of us together, we can't take on just any brand. And so we really limit ourselves to the amount of brands that we take on. But that's why we have so many franchisors coming to us, because they know the four of us, like we can help brands more than most anybody out there. There's some people in food that can help food brands better than we can, but I would put us up against anybody. And that's why people want to come to us. So I think, and that's just in our small little niche of franchising. But for you, like, who are the best people out there that you could partner with or work with? Because we're getting to the point where we are starting to take brands and incubate them. We are going to be the franchisor. And in addition to just, advising and being the FSO for brands, which is traditionally what we've done. But we are seeing opportunity to help some of these founders who have amazing businesses, but they don't even want to do the heavy lifting of creating a franchisor because it's so much work. So they come to us, and they know that's what we do. So we have a unique skill set that most people in the business world, in the world of entrepreneurship, they don't have. So if your expertise is franchising, lean into that in these different groups that you're in. If you are in a fitness franchise, I'm saying that because there's so many fitness or wellness franchises, or maybe food franchise, you may like talk to people out there and be like, I'm a food guy or I'm a fitness guy. Maybe if you leaned into franchising a little bit more, it might lend to some unique partnerships that you hadn't thought about before. So just that knowledge base that we have definitely lends itself to opportunity that 10 years ago I wouldn't have realized how valuable that was.
Attention, franchisors and franchisees, there are two really important resources that I want to share with you that will help you avoid costly mistakes and increase your enterprise value. The first is our free Facebook group. It's a community that has over 4,000 franchisees and franchisors in it. When somebody asks a question, they get honest and authentic answers from multiple perspectives. You can join the group for free over at franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. The second resource I want to share with you is if you're a franchisee and you want to be around a community of successful Zs and other brands and in other industries, this is why I created the Franchisee Mastermind. If you want access to the best single and multi-unit owners to know what they're doing, or if you want to be around other multi-brand owners, then you'll want to check out my Franchisee Mastermind. The reason why people join is they want access to my Rolodex, my connections, to each other. They want a shortcut success, both short-term and long-term. Links will be in the show notes or at scalablefranchise.com.
All right. Number 5 is capital. And this is something that originally I was getting into solo salon studios. This was 10 years ago. And I thought, well, I'll do a couple of these on my own. They were about $1 million each to open up. I'm like, I can do 1, 2, or 3 of them. I could do up to 3 of those by myself. Or we could lock down the whole Orange County market, and I could reach out to some of my buddies who I've been partners with in the past, and I could reach out to them and be like, "Hey, do you want to do this together? We, the 4 of us, and eventually 5 of us, are stronger together. Eventually, there's 4 of us, and the 5th was our operating partner." But we are stronger together. We have access to more capital together. If things get lean, we can overcome that together, and we can build out an entire market in 5 years versus in 2 to 3 years of me opening up 1 or 2 every year. And I wouldn't have been able to lock down the whole market. So the advantage was capital. That's the original reason I put together that group, so we could have capital. So right away, we got loans for 2 of them. We decided to take down the whole market. Basically, we committed to $12 million in 5 years. And we're like, we can do this, no problem. There's 4 of us. And so we got a loan for the first 2, and then the loans dried up. We're like, sorry, we cannot do any more loans. It didn't have anything to do with us. It had everything to do with SBA in that particular industry. So that dried up. We were on the hook to develop 12 of these. And I didn't think at that time, like, oh, we should just ask the franchisor to give us, 2 to 3 times as long to develop these. I didn't think that. I didn't think like, oh, the franchisor should give us our money back because loans dried up, money dried up. I didn't think that. None of us partners did. That was never even a topic of conversation. It was, what do we do now? We are faced with this problem that we have 10 of these to open up, which is $10 million. And we need to get these opened up according to our development plan, or we are going to lose them because that's what we signed up for. That's just what we thought. We didn't think like, oh, our second one didn't open up as strong. Now we should ask them for extra time. That was never, ever a discussion because we were already in construction on, or in lease agreements on number 3. And thank God we didn't stop with number two, because it would prove to be the most difficult one by far. We lost money on that one for years. We lost money for years, and yet this was still the best investment in franchising that I think I've ever done. Maybe some of the area developments were up there because those were great opportunities. But this one, if we had stopped then we would have never gone on to opening up number three. Number three was printing cash day one, and it never stopped. And we were in the right market at the right time. And then that was always our best one. Number three was always our best one. So good thing we didn't use number three as our baseline, like, oh, this works and we should open up 100 of these. No, we just stuck to our plan. This is our plan. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. And thank God we did that. And we found different ways to raise capital. Some of it was pretty expensive right away. And then opportunities came up where it wasn't so expensive. So that's really, when I think about capital, again, you've heard me say it, like, you can have the whole pie or you can create a bigger pie. I am of the thought that you create a bigger opportunity. That's what we look for in people that want to work with us at Front Street. There's founders of they're entrepreneurs that are not in franchising. They're entrepreneurs, but they might be making $1 million or $2 million out of their mom and pop. They might have more than one location. There's very successful entrepreneurs. And if we have conversations and they're like, hey, we would like to franchise this, we would like to work with you, but we'll give you a tiny little sliver of this. And you guys do a bunch of work as we build this new franchise co that we've never created, that we at Front Street have all done before, but they've never done as a very successful entrepreneur in that industry. And they think they're going to create a new company called the Franchise Company. And they want to give us a little sliver of that. And they want to build that together with us. Then I don't think there's alignment there. Because if we're going to do all the heavy lifting on creating the franchise company and we're putting in the money to create the franchise company, why would we do that? They are thinking they're just of the belief they want more. They are thinking small. They want 100% of a small pie of something they've never created before. They don't even know if it will work, but they want 100% of it. That's fine. That's most entrepreneurs out there. If they're solo entrepreneurs, they've built their thing, that's all they want. What we look for are people that like, hey, I'm making $1 million, $2 million a year doing this thing. We have 1, 2, or 3, or however many locations. We want to take this and franchise it nationwide. We've never done this before, but you have. And so we would like to work with you and create this new franchise company together. They keep their current one. We start a new franchise company and we do it together. That is not the current Front Street model. This is something that I've done in the past. They've done, and my partners have done in the past, and something that we are doing in the works of doing right now, because there's so many entrepreneurs. They need help building that franchise company. And we've done that. And we want people that think a bigger pie. They think a bigger opportunity versus that small-minded thinking. Or maybe it's not even small-minded, but it's just their current mindset, and that's okay. So that's really what we look for in partnerships. That's what I look for in partnerships in general. Even when things start to get challenging in a partnership, you need to be able to look at it from different perspectives. You need to be able to look at it from their perspective. They need to look at it from your perspective. You need to understand how you're really looking at things as well. Like, why are you thinking the things that you're thinking? What is the opportunity here that nobody's really seeing? How can we make the pie bigger? If you're having a challenging conversation, like, how do we look at this from the company's standpoint? Like, what's best for the company? If the company is to grow, what's the best thing for the company? So look at it from your perspective, their perspective, and if the company was a standalone entity that didn't have anything to do with you, look at it from that perspective. And that's really what I want in terms of partners. As we're going through discussions with different partners at Front Street, I want somebody that thinks bigger like that. And that's my real, probably the biggest litmus test. I want somebody that sees the bigger picture. They don't get caught up in the minutia. They are not always looking out for the last little dollar, who gets what. They are thinking bigger picture. I think the last thing that I want to I look for in a partnership is like the 1 + 1 = 11. This is really what I'm talking about. And if the partnership doesn't create something bigger as a partnership, then just continue on it your own. I think a partnership, you need to build a flywheel. That's really what we're doing at Front Street. That's why brands come to us. That's why we have operators approaching us. We have people that are like, I wish I was a Front Street partner, because they see us bringing on different partners for different brands. Like, I want to be a Front Street partner. I'm not a franchisor. I've been successful in entrepreneurship, in franchising, or different industries. I want to be a Front Street partner. They're saying, how do I do that? And so we are looking at operators that have been maybe brand presidents of large organizations, or maybe they're just really good at what they do. And they're like, I have this brand or access to this brand, this industry, and I really want to bring that into Front Street. How do we do that? So it's just fun sitting where I'm sitting, being able to have all these conversations. And it's all because way back when I started a partnership with my parents, when I had just a little bit of money, I had a lot of hustle, but over the years, I've been partnered with multiple different people, some of those same people multiple times. And I've seen partnership as the ultimate leverage to my success in business.
Thanks for listening to the Franchise Secrets podcast. Links to everything can be found over at franchisesecrets.com. And if you want my help with anything from starting your own franchise to growing your current franchise business, please visit scalablefranchise.com.